Now, our next speaker is Ms. Mehnaz Ansari. She's the country representative in India for the United States Trade and Development Agency. She's managing many activities here in India promoting U.S. and Indian trade interests. Her job is to promote economic and social development and trade throughout South Asia. And in fact, she is working on identifying priorities for Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. So let's welcome Ms. Ansari.
I would just begin by a quote I was reading last week, and it's becoming a pretty common feature to talk a lot about smart cities. In India, a portfolio which USTDA has been working on, my agency. An American businessman called Jim Rogers said that if you were smart in 1807, you would move to London. If you were smart in 1907, you would move to New York. But if you're smart in 2007, and I think it still holds true for the next 90 years, you would move to Asia, and probably this is the place, India is the place which has taken up the smart cities and the management and sustainability element really to heart, and it's growing. Well, I must begin by thanking the organizers, the University of Ohio and IIT Bombay, especially Priya, whom I met at a Smart Cities workshop in December. I'm very pleased to be here with Honorable Consul General Tom Vida, who's been really championing some of the work which USTDA has been engaged in helping infrastructure get connected to implementation. Mr. Ajoy Mehta and our partner in working in Smart Cities, Mr. Pratap Patode from Smart Cities Council India, who has been USTDA advisors on Smart Cities. It's been an initiative which has been very important for a broad range of programs which we have taken up between US and India, and certainly addresses the objective of economic growth and expanded two-way trade and investment, and increase access to cleaner energy to mitigate the effects of global climate change. I think a subject which Waste Management Innovation today morning is going to address. I must point out that as we all get together here to deliberate for the next 2 days on waste management innovation, it impacts our daily lives, and whatever we do today and for our future, it's going to leave a very large impact. So it's great that we have already started thinking, and as we are planning massive projects, as we are leaping towards the growth journey, it is very important to raise the standard of living through smart development, including access to clean water and sanitation. And of course, a work which we have been doing on infrastructure and smart city program, where we are trying to bring in the US businesses closer to the Indian players, the business community as well as the government community, to see some sustainable models which can be developed and which can be devised for mutual benefit of both the countries. So there is a lot of opportunity which exists. It is being talked about, the infrastructure growth story, especially smart cities, is being talked about as a $1.5 trillion opportunity. So certainly beyond innovation, beyond CSR, there's a lot of business, and that is what will keep the people going towards an initiative which will take a longer term goal. At USTDA, and we have certainly believed and tried to live the motto of Prime Minister Modi to develop 100 smart cities by getting engaged earlier in the Smart Cities Challenge program, which was launched in June 2015. The partnership between US and India on smart cities actually traces back almost a year earlier during Prime Minister's first visit to US, when President Obama and Prime Minister Modi discussed and decided to take 3 cities in India, Visakhapatnam, Ajmer and Allahabad, as smart cities. And our agency was given the work to help lay out the first plan. And when we start talking about cities and when we start talking about the development or looking at the brownfield cities development, how do we take it up? We have to engage with the municipalities of each of these places at the state and city level, and certainly water, waste management, and I won't go into the role of Indian municipalities, but this is certainly one of the very important subjects which has to grow from a social responsibility role to find an economic viability also for cities to sustain themselves. I won't like to rehash the statistics, but actually India is adding almost one Chicago every year, and by 2030, India plans to add 300 million people from its rural population to its urban population. So it's a huge pressure on each of the city, which is looking at all these opportunities, all these growth patterns, and it is going to be an immense challenge for the city stakeholders to take it. So everybody's participation, including the public-private partnership, including the city administration, state administration, but very importantly the citizens of those places. It's very important that it has to be a mutual cooperation and a mutual partnership. Again, statistics which are just available, across the various sources of information, and we have specialists who are going to talk deeper into waste management innovation. But just the small statistics is that we are adding, as the mankind, 1 billion plastic bottles to our oceans every year. I don't know what that is really going to mean for our future generation, but if you have been seeing some of the air quality challenges, some of the water cleanliness challenges, which we as citizens of Delhi and Mumbai and other places have been seeing, it is an immense challenge where we must think before we churn out and look at the waste. So, working in the smart cities, I would really take a little step back and talk to you about the agency which I represent. We are the grant assistance arm providing funding for infrastructure planning of projects. And in India, we have had a very robust portfolio for the region, but especially India being our topmost priority country. We have funded about 140 priority projects in India for infrastructure planning. Smart cities has been a new addition. I would say it's been an amalgamation of our various works which we've done in transportation sector, in energy sector. A very important part of energy has been clean energy and looking at projects. I must admit that in India, despite working on a lot of energy activities, water activities, we have done the planning for Bangalore Water Supply Corporation. I haven't yet come across too many interesting waste management projects. Waste to energy, as CG mentioned. So that is certainly an area looking at smart cities and smarter infrastructure for Indian cities. We would certainly like to explore if there are economic models, economically viable models which USTDA can help support for not only the 3 partner cities but also across the country, because we spread our portfolio across the country. We have had a very strong portfolio in the aviation arena in India and also in the aviation arena. We have a program called US-India Aviation Cooperation Program, which we have been supporting, which also looks at some of the footprints of carbon during the planning of the routes, how the aircrafts would land and take off. So with every subject which we try to address, we would like to address the subject of a cleaner environment, a sustainable economy and a sustainable model. I was with a group from Rajasthan where we've been working with the city of Ajmer, but also the other 3 cities, the smart cities of Rajasthan, Kota, Udaipur and Jaipur in Washington. And we saw some very smart models of the Washington city in terms of waste management, how some very economic and sustainable models of sensors have been installed in waste bins, and how the checks and balances are being provided provided. These are not very expensive models. I'm sure there are models available here in India which can be taken up. But such sustainable models of how waste is assessed and managed in the world of Internet of Things is going to be very helpful in the long term. So as we look at technology in all the other subjects, when we talk about the complicated subjects, I think it is time, India has come to a time where you should start looking at technologies. And as Dr. Fixon mentioned, there is a session in the afternoon today with industry from US and India. It is a time when some more responsibility beyond a social responsibility needs to be taken up to try some of those models and implement them. Both private waste management services and municipalities can benefit from smart waste technology, and for a small cost upfront in sensor technology, you can really increase your operational efficiency. And again, at USTD, as we are planning as we are laying the master plans of the cities where we are working in, including Vizag, which has the title of Clean Commerce Capital. The word clean comes first before everything else. We are happy to support such initiatives and partnerships to help India develop sustainable models for its cities, and also the models which are developed for one city can be picked up and implemented for the other. So everybody doesn't have to reinvent the game themselves. They can just look at the models around them and take it on from there. We have tried to support many activities in the country, and the model where we work in are two. One is that our partner, which can be our grantee, for example, Reliance Infra in Mumbai, since this is a Mumbai audience, picked up a US company called Innovari to do a demand-side management project for its commercial consumer, trying to optimize the use of energy supply between the commercial consumer without really impacting the residential consumer. A pilot of 1 megawatt, it has been successful and now being looked at for a full-scale implementation. So we like to work with the private players as well as with the governments at the state, central level, as well as other stakeholders to make sure that all the good research and thought is going to get implemented in the actual sense of things. What we also do and support are organize workshops which we have done for the cities of Ajmer and Allahabad, because there's a lot of capacity building and a lot of initiative to inculcate those capacities which is needed. And I would invite the State University of Ohio as well as the IITs to come forward and do this capacity building first for the first layer of those players who are going to then go ahead and implement it. What we see working in the cities is that there's a lot of disconnect between the implementer and the citizens who are going to get the services. I think it's very important that each stakeholder, be it the institution, for example, in Allahabad, we have seen the universities play a very important role in bringing that kind of awareness to the citizens so that everybody starts getting responsible and starts owning some element of that city. We have been working with our Chambers of Commerce, American Chambers and US India Business Council, as well as Indian Chambers of CII and FICCI, but we've also been working very closely with our consulates, with our North India office, who rolled out a Smart City program to have these awareness lectures as we go ahead and bring a connection between US companies to the stakeholders in the city. The lectures provided by the professors on smart energy or waste management has been very helpful in bringing the stakeholders to be talking the same language. We have to first begin by talking the same language, and Pratap is on the dais, who's been one of our experts, but we have had a team of 10 to 15 experts on the ground, just first trying to bring everybody together and help them with the Smart Cities Challenge program, which is a small modeling of the whole initiative, but also to make sure that even if you are not responsible for managing the city, which the municipality is, you are responsible as a citizen of that city to make it economically viable and livable. So beginning with when USTDA began in 2015, starting on smart cities, everybody was questioning what is smart cities. The word is sustainable. And the conference deliberation today going to bring in the real element of sustainability to the subject. So I congratulate the organizers once again. We are open and based at the embassy in New Delhi to look at more models and support consulates. One last program which I would like to mention because it's very important in the crowd here in Mumbai is that Mumbai and Maharashtra has taken some exceptional leads in not only looking at smarter infrastructure and of course bringing a lot of closeness between business and government, but Mumbai delegation is leaving at the end of this week for a training program in US called Global Procurement Initiative. It's a partnership thanks to CG Vaida. We started first modeling it in Maharashtra before we take it to the other states and at the center level. With the procurement officers, including principal secretaries and other officers who are traveling to US for a training program with George Washington University and MIT for the next 10 days starting 24th April, is going to help some of these models really reach implementation. So with these words, thank you so much once again for inviting me to be here, and we look forward to discussing more with you on how we can support. Thank you.